Hi everyone, in this video we are going to see important questions on AC circuit. So let's say we have this circuit. This resistance is 3 ohm and XC is given to be 4 ohm and XL is given to be 8 ohm and instantaneous voltage V is equal to 200 root 2 sine of omega t, where omega is 100 pi. So this is omega, this is peak value V naught, and we have to first find instantaneous current I. So in the previous video we saw that given I, how to find instantaneous voltage V, but the other way around is a bit difficult. So what we will do is, instead to find V, we will find V from I. Like, we'll follow the same strategy as in the previous video. So let's say instantaneous current I is I naught sine omega t. Okay, we assume that. So if you remember, V is equal to, so let's say voltage across this is VR, VC and VL. So V is equal to VR plus VC plus VL. VR is equal to I naught R sine omega t. This we have already done in the previous videos. And VC is equal to I naught XC sine of omega t minus pi by 2, and VL is equal to I naught XL sine of omega t plus pi by 2, because in the inductor the voltage leads current and in capacitor voltage lags current. So this is something you should already know by now. So I naught we don't know, but R we know. So this is equal to 3 I naught sine of omega t. This is equal to 4 I naught sine of omega t, and this is equal to 8 I naught, omega t minus pi by 2, and this is equal to 8 I naught sine of omega t plus pi by 2. So let's do the phase diagram. So 3 I naught on the x-axis, 4 I naught downwards, and 8 I naught upwards. So net resultant would be 4 I naught upwards, 3 I naught sideways. This will give us the net voltage V, which is equal to 5 I naught at angle of 53 degrees. So this is 3 I naught and this is 53 degrees. So from this we know that the net voltage so from this we know that the net voltage is 5 I naught. So V naught should be equal to 5 I naught, but V naught is 200 root 2, right? So this V is equal to V naught sine of omega t plus phi, something like that. So but we know that V naught is equal to 200 root 2. So this 200 root 2 should be equal to 5 I naught, which implies I naught is equal to 40 root 2. So we have already found I naught, and that's the most important part, because the other thing is we note that the angle between V naught and I naught, so this is V and this is I's angle. So V is leading I by an angle of 53 degrees, means I is lagging V by an angle of 53 degrees. So in V's angle we subtract 53 degrees to get I's angle, and I's peak value is 40 root 2. So that's our instantaneous current. That's how we find our instantaneous current. So basically first we find what is the angle difference between I and V. So to summary is this: find angle difference between I and V. So here we can see that we had already seen. So we are given L, we are given C, we are given R. L is 8, C is 4, R is 3. So we can see that L is greater than C, which means the Y component would be higher than X component, and that means voltage would be leading the current. So current is here, voltage would be here, and angle difference is 53 degrees. First to identify that. So from the angle of voltage we subtract 53 degrees to get the angle of I. Next thing is to find the magnitude, and for the magnitude we calculate the resultant, which is 5 I naught, and we equate it to the magnitude of actual V naught, which is 200√2. So that's the summary. So this is the first part of question. So this was the most difficult part. Once you have instantaneous voltage and instantaneous current, everything is easy, very easy. So the next part is to find the RMS voltage and RMS current, which is simply RMS voltage is peak voltage divided by √2. So 200√2 by √2, which is 200. Similarly, RMS current is peak current divided by √2, which is 40√2 by √2, which is 40. Next part is to find the resonant frequency. Resonant frequency is, we saw this in last lecture, is when basically 1 upon omega c is equal to omega L, which implies omega is equal to 1 upon √LC. And to calculate the resonant frequency, we need to know the value of L and C. And we know the value of omega L, which is equal to 8. We know the value of 1 upon omega c, which is equal to 4. So basically omega square LC, if we divide both of these, we get 2. Therefore omega square by 2 is equal to 1 by LC, and omega by √2 is equal to 1 by √LC. So this is omega dash, which we have to find resonant frequency, and this is the omega that we are given. So we can find 1 upon √LC by using the given omega. So this is the omega which we are given, and dividing it by √2. So omega which we are given is, so this is omega 100 pi. So W dash is equal to 1 upon √LC is equal to omega given by √2 is equal to 100 pi by √2, which is equal to 50√2 pi. This is resonant angular frequency. If you are asked to calculate frequency, we know that time period is equal to 2 pi by omega. Frequency is equal to 1 upon time period, which is equal to omega by 2 pi. So basically we have to divide the above thing, omega dash, by 2 pi to calculate the resonant frequency. So 50√2 pi by 2 pi. This is 25√2. Then we have to find net impedance. What is impedance? So we didn't talk about impedance in the last video, but impedance is nothing but the value of peak voltage by peak current, or we can say Vrms by Irms. So peak voltage we know is 200√2, and peak current we know is 40√2. So the value of impedance is, net impedance is 5 originally. Now they are asking what is the net impedance at resonance. Net impedance at resonance. So basically impedance is also the resultant of all the Z's. So at resonance we know that omega L and 1 upon omega c cancel out. What remains is R. So whatever the R is our net impedance. So net impedance at resonance is R is equal to 3 ohm. So net impedance is basically resultant of these three things. So at resonance R is equal to 3 ohm, because whatever be the resultant of this, that would be the relation between V naught divided by I naught is equal to net impedance, because we use the resultant to calculate the Z, and basically V naught is equal to I naught Z. So whatever is the resultant of this is known as impedance. So we have found the impedance at the resonance condition. Now we have to find the current at resonant conditions. So current at resonant conditions. So whenever they said current, they haven't mentioned which current. Do you want to find peak current, RMS current, or instantaneous current? When nothing is mentioned, they usually means RMS. So we have to find RMS current at resonant conditions. So at resonance, the peak current I naught would be simply V naught by Z. So V naught is 200 by √2 and Z at resonance is 3. So peak current is 200√2 by 3, which implies RMS is 200 by 3, because RMS is nothing but peak by √2. So IRMS is I naught by √2, right? So one thing we haven't discussed is power in AC circuits. So let's say the angle between instantaneous voltage and instantaneous current I is phi. So let's say voltage is some V naught sine omega t plus phi, and I is some I naught sine omega t. So let's say the difference, the phase angle difference between the instantaneous current and voltage is phi. So power instantaneous would be, in this case, V naught I naught sine omega t plus phi into sine omega t. So we can write this as this. Now the formula of 2 sin A sin B is cos of A minus B minus cos of A plus B, because this is cos A cos B plus sin A sin B, and this is cos A cos B minus sin A sin B. So if you subtract these two, you get 2 sin A sin B, right? So the formula of 2 sin A sin B is this. So that's why we'll apply this formula and we'll get instantaneous power to be V naught I naught by 2. So cos of A minus B is cos of phi minus cos of A plus B is cos of 2 omega t plus phi. So average power is, basically we have to integrate P instantaneous from, for one cycle, which is 0 to 2 pi by omega, by the total time period, which is 2 pi by omega. So V naught I naught by 2 cos phi minus V naught I naught by 2 integration of 0 to constant. You can simply cancel numerator and denominator for the constant, but this we have to integrate. So you can see that this is equal to V naught I naught by 2 cos phi, simply because this term would be 0. This is because integration of this would be sine of 2 omega t plus phi by 2 omega, and limits are from 0 to 2 pi by omega. So if you put it, it would be equal to 0 minus 0, which is 0. So that's why right hand side would be 0 and left hand side is V naught I naught by 2 cos phi, which can also be written as V naught by root 2 I naught by root 2 cos phi, which is equal to Vrms Irms cos phi. Okay, so we can see that the average power is given by Vrms into Irms into cos phi, and this average power, so let's say if there are three things: resistance, capacitance and inductance. So average power through capacitance for one complete cycle would be 0. Average power due to inductance through one complete cycle would also be 0. Average power due to resistance through one complete cycle would be I Rms square into R. So net power by law of conservation of energy should be I Rms square by R, I Rms square into R. But is this equal to I Rms square into R? Let's see. So this is in fact equal to I Rms square into R. The reason is the angle between V and I phi is the same thing, which is the angle between, because I is always with the same phase with the resistance R, right? And V is always in the same phase with the net impedance Z, because whatever the direction of the Z, which is the net impedance, is the direction of V. So angle between Z and R is same as angle between instantaneous voltage and I. So since angle between Z and R is phi, because current is always in the direction of R and voltage net direction, or you can say angle, would be the same as the angle of impedance Z, net impedance Z. So we can write cos phi So here Z cos phi is equal to R, which implies cos phi is equal to R by Z. So let's replace cos phi as R by Z above. So average power is equal to Vrms Irms into R by Z. But we know that Vrms by Z is nothing but Irms. So this becomes Irms square R. Hence average power is Irms square R, or Vrms into Irms into cos phi, and this cos phi is also called as power factor. So whenever someone asks you to find the power factor, you have to find the basically you have to find Z, and you have to see the angle of Z with the x-axis, which is the angle of Z with the angle of the current, or the angle of the R, because current and R are always in the same direction, and take cos of angle theta. That would be your power factor. So in this case, at resonance condition, the power factor would always be, so R and Z would be in the same direction, because Z is in fact R. So at resonance, power factor would be cos of 0. Angle between them is 0, so power factor would be 1. But before resonance, in this case the Z's direction would be, so we had 8 above, 4 below, and 3 here. So the direction of R and direction of I is horizontal, which is this, and the direction of Z is 5 at angle of 50 degree. So here cos of 50 degree is your power factor, which is equal to 3 by 5. And if someone asks that what is the average power, so average power we can simply calculate. So power average is, either we can use Irms square R. So we have already find I here. Irms square is 40. So 40 square into R. R is 3. So this is 1600 into 3, which is equal to 4800 watt average power. In resonance condition, average power is, so in resonance Irms is 200 by 3. So 200 by 3 square into R. R is 3. So this gives 40,000 by 9 into 3, which is equal to 40,000 by 3. So that's your average power in resonance. You can see that since in resonance the current is maximum, therefore Irms is maximum, therefore power is maximum in resonance. So this question kind of covers all the concepts we have learned so far in this chapter, and this was a very important question. If you didn't understand this question, please go through every part of this question again, rewind the video, watch the entire question again, and make sure you understand each and every concept of this question.